Why do I keep saying his full name? Maybe because, like, I don't know. Maybe if I say it like 3 times and spin around in a circle, he'll like show up here and do a co-reaction with me. Anyways. What's up, everybody? Mark with Cardivox Academy. Welcome to the swelteringly hot Casa de Cardivox. This place is old, and the only way to not have any awful background noise of the AC or the ceiling fans is to have them all turned off. So it's just me, gross, getting the content to you at any cost. But anyway, jokes aside, I'm very excited for today's video. This is our Patreon pick, and this video won by a single frickin' vote. One vote. So every month, our patrons get to nominate and vote on a video for me to react to. And this snuck by. So if you're new to the channel, what we do here is we take the reaction format, we break it down, we try to make it educational, we try to make it fun. We talk mostly about vocal technique here. You know, I don't know about guitar, so I ain't gonna tell you how to play guitar, but we try to make it as fun as possible. My name is Mark. Again, I am a metal vocalist myself. I'm in 3 metal bands, Kardashev, Neverbreath, and Viremia, and I'm a vocal coach. I predominantly teach people how to make all these crazy, gurgly, gross noises. Now, today's video that has been voted on by our patrons is SION. The song is called The Blade, and this is actually really cool because this is a song that's done by Howard Jones, who I think is, I mean, he's done a lot of things, but I think he's probably most well known for being one of the vocalists of Killswitch Engage, and a very good vocalist too. And then also Jared Dines, who is a really good guitarist, really good writer of music, also a meme master, and the runner of, I think, 2 large YouTube channels, his own channel, and then the Dickie Dines show. Which is also a lot of fun too. So you should totally go check those out. I'll have the links in the description. I'd be surprised if anybody watching this hasn't heard of those channels. But oh Lord, I'm melting. Anyway, this is going to be a lot of fun. If you enjoy the content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Means a lot. And if you're interested in lessons, although I will say this is a little bit less of my wheelhouse, right? I tend to do more of like the gurgly, deathcore, Satan's toilet bowl noises. But if you're interested in lessons, hit me up in the link below. Email address below in the description. And beyond that, let's do it. I'm really excited to check out this song. I'm surprised I haven't heard it so far, but I'm perpetually behind on anything. I'm that friend in the friends group where somebody's like, have you seen? Have you heard? Just assume I'm gonna say no. Just assume I'm gonna say no. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. This is The Blade, SION, featuring Howard Jones and Jared Dines. Let's do it. It sounds like we have a transition, so I'm going to pause it there. 42 seconds! I'm telling you, people described it. Oh, I can't remember what the video was, but I was like, why is it always in 42 seconds? And people gave this really interesting answer about time signatures and you know, music writing and math and psychology, and I was like, actually really interesting. But 43 seconds, that's usually where I tend to make my first pause, and it's crazy. So let's talk about this. Now, again, I'm definitely familiar with Howard Jones. I am probably more unfamiliar with Killswitch than I should be. I've definitely heard of their music, but never like sat down and dug into the discography. One thing I do know about Howard is that he is a power belter. So actually, before we talk about anything in this video, we should talk about how this is not gonna likely be anybody's starting point. I mean this very seriously, okay? He is doing, and I assume is going to do, a lot of very athletic, very extreme, very intense vocal technique. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit because he's got a very signature singing voice. But I want to talk about these screams a little bit. I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, he's doing fry screams, or oh, he's doing false chord screams. And I think that with those terms, like I talked about in the Shadow of Intent video, with those terms, sometimes we can get a little too pigeonholy. To me, if I was in the studio, right? Now I'm going to be fully transparent. I know a lot, but I don't know everything, right? If I was in the studio and somebody who said, Mark, can you do a scream that sounds kind of like this? What I would probably do is I would kind of listen to it for a couple seconds, and I would notice that I'm hearing some true chord underneath. I'm hearing underneath the scream. That would lead me to believe that it is likely, see all this careful wording I'm putting here. It would lead me to believe that it is likely a compressed sort of arytenoidal scream, right? Which is interesting because I said a lot of Shadow Intent was arytenoidal. Just because we're using the same distortion mechanism doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the same sound. But I'm going to take like this arytenoidal distortion, I'm going to allow a little extra air through, and I'm going to sort of compress the glottis, the space around my vocal folds. This is a prime example of why what Howard Jones does is not anybody's starting point, because when we're doing a lot of belting and when we are compressing the glottis, we, number one, have to know how much to do. Oftentimes it's a lot less than you think you'll need. And then number two, our muscles have to be able to handle it, right? Like you wouldn't go into a gym and expect yourself to be able to bench or deadlift like, I don't know, 400 pounds. Is that a lot? I don't deadlift. 500 pounds? I don't think I could deadlift that. You wouldn't assume that you could do that your first day or maybe even first month in the gym. So don't expect, oh, this song is so fire, I'm melting. Don't expect yourself to be able to do it. But I would probably, if I was just playing around with it, I'd probably do something like that, right? I'm getting a little bit of that, everything I say. He does sound like he's doing something a little different. If you're an expert, if you love Kill Switch, please feel free to put it in the comments below. But let's listen to that again. Maybe I'll play around with it a little bit more, and then we'll just keep going. Let's go around to, I don't know, 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Yeah, goodness gracious, I'm sorry for, I'm not sorry I'm pausing again. Who am I kidding? Yeah, he's definitely a lot higher in pitch, right? He's a lot higher in pitch. And I also love like the level of control he has coming off of these screams, right? He's not just stopping cold. He's slowly, and like, yeah, I'm sure in post-production or in editing, they added a little bit of a taper, but he's got a really nice natural taper there as well. And he's more, everything I say, like he's got a lot of dynamics in there. That's really cool. I would have to sit down and maybe listen to some isolated tracks to like really fully break down his scream there. But that's the approach that I would take. Again, if I was in the studio and somebody said, hey, Mark, do this kind of scream, I'd take 15 minutes to just walk around and everything, and I'd probably settle for that. I think it's different than what he's doing, but that's how I would try to achieve the sound. Let's keep going. Yo, so something about Howard Jones' voice when he comes in is always so good, right? So good. So one thing about Howard Jones is, and again, this is a little outside of my wheelhouse. This isn't necessarily what, I do in a lot of my music by any means. But one thing about Howard's voice is that he adds a lot of weight to it, right? Now, I totally know that can be a vocal vagism, and it can kind of change depending on who you're talking to, right? But, in this context, in sort of like a rock and metal song, what I mean is that he's got a sound of strategic tension, strategic squeeze, again, in that glottal space, or I guess I should say just above it, right? This is yet another example of why you shouldn't just, oh, I want to learn to sing. Boom, I'm going to belt like Howard Jones, because you're probably going to strain something. These muscles in this part of in and around your larynx, they need to be well supported, because essentially to do this, we're holding air pressure back. And that legitimately, without proper training and without proper strength, is a dangerous thing to do. I'm not going to lie to you, right? It's not so dangerous that I want to like strike fear into your hearts, right? I'm not saying don't aspire to great things. What I am saying is that you have to build up the strength in order to do it. Now, a lot of this sound, again, comes from that sort of glottal squeeze. So if I have none of that, if I'm just kind of singing around, hey, if you lose all the I don't know the lyrics, so that's just kind of me sort of mouthing the syllables, right? Again, that's really open. Everything is very open and relaxed. I'm letting the sound kind of come up and out of my head. And I'm not really struggling, right? I'm expanding my rib cage. I'm squeezing this whole abdominal section, even using my lower back muscles. There's this section of the body that we can think of as the diamond of support. I'm going to thank Elizabeth from the Charismatic Voice for that terminology. That's the area that we're using to support. And everything else is nice and open. Hey, yeah, as we lose all the right? Very relaxed. Now, with him, again, he's got a little bit more of this, hey, oh, like he's got a little bit of that warmth. Now, I've spent like next to no time trying to make sounds exactly like Howard Jones. So anybody watching, I am not trying to be Howard Jones right now. But if I was to kind of go about this, I would sort of hum around in this melody with like sort of an right? It's like a little bit like you're getting punched, right? It's a little bit like a squeeze. That's a very common metal vocal exercise as well, especially with like either fry or false chord. It doesn't matter really. But I would kind of play around with this, hey, and then I'd sort of whisper and hum right here, if you lose all the right? And once I'm comfortable there, I would start to release it. Hey, if you lose all the right? So there's more of a, yeah, like there's more of that squeeze sound. Anyways, let's keep going. And by the way, like I said, I'm not a guitarist, but Jared's tone sounds amazing. Like I feel like I'm listening to the Doom soundtrack, but proggier and crunchier and punchier. I don't know how he always gets his tone so clean, but it is just, I just want to chew on it. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. If I want to eat your music, I love it. Let's go. When you lose all the I am the blade. There's no end to the bleed. I am the blade. Here is your answer. I have nothing left to give. Love comes up with a smile. It's a death by a thousand cuts. Love can be so vile with my lips outside. When you lose all feeling, I am the blade. There's no end to the bleed. I am the blade. The air fast. You can't prepare. I'm cutting to the bone. There's no end to the bleed. I am the blade. Okay, we have a pretty clear transition there. Although, you know me, we're going to go back and we're going to listen to some of that again. So, take a little sip of water here, rehydrate from all this sweating I'm doing. So oh man, when the guitars dropped into that da-dum, da-dum, oh, that was, ugh. That was some delicious stuff. Okay. One thing I really want to point out about, if you're a new vocalist, if you're a new singer and you're watching this video and this is the genre of music you want to do, like you're not as interested in like the deathcore and the death metal and the black metal, and you're more interested to in the more rock influenced side of metal music, which is awesome. Like I love this song so far. I really want you to understand that what you are seeing of Howard Jones right now is performance. Okay? He is a very intense vocalist, and you're seeing a lot of animation in his head and in his neck. I want to make it really clear that that doesn't mean that you are going to do that at home. There are videos out there, if I can find them, I'll link them, but there are videos of Howard doing covers where he is crazy relaxed. So he's not singing incorrectly. He is singing just about as correctly as it gets, right? He's an absolute power belter. All of this stuff, that is performance, that is storytelling, and his body and his vocal muscles are able to absorb the shock because he knows how to place his effort low. He knows how to sink into his support. He knows how to activate that diaphragm by sensing downward pelvic floor activation, right? Melissa Cross calls it the dump, right? We've been talking about this for years. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say we. She was at this way before I ever was. And so I don't want any new singers to look out there and be like, well, Howard Jones looks like he's straining. I can strain too, because Howard Jones, why do I keep saying his full name? Maybe because, like, I don't know. Maybe if I say it like 3 times and spin around in a circle, he'll like show up here and do a co-reaction with me. Anyways, he's not straining. He is putting on an emotional persona, of course, because he's in the moment, he's in the music, he's feeling what's going on, he's plugged in, but he's not messing himself up here. He may have had a vocal injury in the past, just because sometimes people do. I'm not aware of it, but if he did, let me know. But even then, this dude's in command. This dude's in command of what's going on. I want to go back a little bit just because, like, this song is fire. That's a good thumbnail. He's looking pissed. Let's do this.
When you lose all feeling, I am the blame. There's no end to the bleeding. I am the blame. The air fast. You can't prepare. I'm cutting to the bone. There's no end to the bleeding.
Yeah, and the fact that he's holding vibrato, and it sounds like such a good clean vibrato. Like, obviously it's a dramatic vibrato, right? For anybody who may not know, vibrato is that waver in the voice that we hear, when we're singing like this, a vibrato, right? That's that's a vibrato, right? And sometimes you have people who, I don't want to say they do vibrato wrong, because, like, what is wrong? Usually I only think of wrong being, like, damaging to your voice or not the goal that you're shooting for. But sometimes people will control the vibrato by pulsing their abdominal muscles. Hey, ha, ha, ha. And that's generally not the sound that anybody's going for. I've heard some singers who do it, and it sounds fine. Power to him. He's not doing that. So he's got... and this is what I'm talking about. He's got this very strategic resistance to the airflow in and around and above the glottis. When we say glottis, we're talking about the space where the vocal folds are. He's got that strategic pressure, and he's resistance, and he's putting pressure on it, right? It's a lot less than you probably think you need, but he's also managing a little bit of vibrato. That's insane. Like, sure, there are other vocalists who can do that, but he's doing it. He's doing it so well. I just absolutely love it. Let's keep this going, because it sounds like we've got a cool transition. I'm gonna go. No, I'll just leave it here. This sounds like a really cool transition. Now I'm gonna go back because I like when we can hear the song move. So let's go to 215.
There's no end to the bleeding. I am the blade.
Nice.
When you lose or feel alive, I am the blade. There's no end to the bleeding. I am the blade. What the effects you can't repair. I'm cutting to the bone. There's no end to the bleeding. I am the blade.
Yo, that grit he threw on right there at the end. Oh, that was tasty. I want to hear that again. Oh, that was delicious.
You can't repair. I'm cutting to the bone. There's no end to the bleeding. I am the blade.
Oh man. Yeah, that song is pure power. Holy crap. Yeah, so I absolutely love everything about that. I love how aggressive and yet playful the composition is. The guitars are, hitting these insanely thick, crunchy staccato riffs. We got like almost like a little fall moment here and there. And then, so I can't really speak to your guitar playing as much because I'm not a guitarist myself. But it sounded dope. Good job, Mr. Dines. But yeah, Howard Jones is always a pleasure to listen to because he is so good at what he does. And he's got the ability to create that compression, ability to create that resistance, and such a sense of ease. That's amazing. Now, one thing I will leave you with, again, I really don't want people to think that they're gonna start singing like Howard Jones in a split second, right? Everybody's different, so I'm not gonna give you a timeline. Your timeline is listen to your body, learn the fundamentals, focus on the basics, right? One way that you can kind of get a sense of this squeeze, just to get a sense of it, is you can kind of either do like this, like that gut punch sound, oh yeah, hey yeah, or there's this character that was really popular, when I was growing up. They had a lot of reruns of it, but his name was Mr. Magoo. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again. Oh, hey, cutting to the bone, yeah, right. So it kind of has a little bit of that resistance. Yeah, so something you can think about, and I give you those exercises, and that's not, I don't even know if that's like we could call that an exercise. It's just kind of a way to play with the sound. I give you those not because I think you should be doing them anytime soon, unless you're an experienced singer. I do that because I know you're probably going to. So at least you can kind of play with it quiet. Oh, cutting to the bone, right? And then go from there. Anyways, this was a lot of fun. It's always kind of fun getting out of my wheelhouse because it makes me guess and think and percolate, and that's kind of fun. So great job to my patrons. Sorry I'm an absolute disgusting mess for this video, but thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate you watching this with me. Again, if you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Our channel is approaching 100,000 subscribers, and I would love to get there. If you want to vote on videos as well, hop onto the Patreon where we have the polls once a month. We upload bonus footage from the co-reactions. We've got a really active, fun Discord community. We all hang out on Friday nights and listen to music together, and usually like just get into like all sorts of weird conversations at like 2 a.m. It's kind of nuts. I'm there when I can be. Yeah, I got one more video to film today, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.